Aloha YouTubers, it's Jay, and today we're going to be replacing the AC evaporator on my awesome 2010 Jeep Commander. Let's get started. On the Jeep Commanders, there's actually a really simple way to tell if you have a leak on your AC evap. All you need to do is take off the panel below your glove box, remove your glove box, and then remove the blower motor resistor module. Once you have that off, you can get an endoscope camera into your ducting and go all the way to the AC evap. It's not very far, and I'll show you. From there, you'll be able to see with the camera the condition of your evaporator and if you think you have a leak or not. Okay, so first I'm going to remove the steering wheel column. I'm going to start by taking off the plastic housing. There's 3 T20s that can be accessed on the bottom side. Once you get those 3 T20 screws out, the plastic housing around the steering wheel column should just pull apart. Okay, so next I'm just going to disconnect the electrical running to the steering wheel column. Okay. Got a white connector right there. And then on the underside, got 2 more. These 2 here, and then a black one on that side. And then we've got 4 13mm bolts to get the column out. Got 1 here, 1 up there, and then 2 more on the other side. And then a 5th one right there that you should be able to pull the steering wheel column right off. Okay, now that the steering wheel's out of the way, let's take off some of the center console, and let's also take off this. Careful with those last 2. It's good to use a little screwdriver to get those little clips. The other ones you can just use your fingers. Okay, let's get this radio out of here. Sure wish I had some music right about now. Nope. Okay. Alright guys, this is where I'm at. Well, had to do a bunch of work. Had to remove the shifter, the center console, both these panels on the sides. Had to remove these as well. As you can see, I've seen some videos where the guys take off the dash skin and then take off the metal frame below that. I'm going to try to do it in one step. We'll see how it goes. I want to go over with you the exact locations of all the bolts and nuts and screws in order to take your dash off in one piece. Now this is a critical step. It makes things so much easier, and if you nail this, you'll get the job done pretty quick. So, okay, starting on the driver's side. Okay, you can see we've got a bolt there, a screw, and then another bolt. Okay, you got the exact same thing on the passenger side, so times that by 2. Now on the top, you have to take off your grill to get to these. you got two nuts. One there, a little bit tricky to see, and one other side, on the other side here. Take those off. Okay, now also, on the driver's side, you're gonna have a screw that's attaching to your HVAC. Okay, I'm just gonna point to it here. You access it from the bottom, but it goes through here. It goes into your HVAC system. So you actually get to that screw from the bottom. And then while you're under here, now let me see if we can actually see these. You got two more nuts. Okay. Got one up here. Okay, just on this side. Maybe you can see this one a little bit easier. And then one right there. Okay. So that's the driver's side. Now we come over to the center. And we've got one here. This is a bolt. It's attaching again to the HVAC. And then you've got two bolts. And a little bit tricky to see. Maybe in the light, the right light, but at the end of my screwdriver, you can just see the head of it there. It's not this one. You don't need to take that one out, but you take out this one, and then on the other side, there's another one. You can just feel the top of it as you stick your hand back there. You gotta take out those two bolts. And then it's also in here, as you're pulling the dash off, if it gets hung up a bit, there's tabs there right behind those bolts that you might have to push down. Now let's take a look at the passenger side. Okay, so on the passenger side, like I mentioned, got the two, which are the exact same as the other side. You got a bolt, a screw, and then a bolt. Take those out of there. And then underneath here, you got a screw right here. You see that there? It comes up from the bottom side. And then you're gonna have a bolt right here that you need to take out. Okay, then the only other place where the dash is held to the body is right here. So I'll just zoom out a bit. Okay, you can see, and it's the exact same on the other side. You have a metal bracket, which you can actually take right off, but you got a bolt here and a bolt there. Take those bolts off, pull that bracket off, and I'll just show you the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, so just on the other side, you got a nut there and another nut there. Take those off and you can pull that bracket off. And that's it. Once you get that out, you should be able to remove your dash in one piece and just pay attention to all the electrical connections. You'll have to disconnect those as well. So, you gotta remove both these bolts. Will disconnect this electrical wiring. And then also, tricky to see here, to take out this wiring and that wiring. 1, 2, 3. Right. Forward. Lift it up. Lift it up. Bring it forward.
I can't. Okay.
Taking out the dash in one piece definitely saves you some time. You just got to find all the nuts and bolts. Okay, now that I have the dash out, I can easily access this unit. So what I'll do is I'll try to take the entire piece out, and then I'll be able to have access to the evap, which is just on the back side. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm actually going to disconnect the AC low pressure, high pressure lines. One nut right there. And then I'm just gonna disconnect also the hoses to the heater core. I just wanted to show you the locations where there's gonna be one nut and two screws. So the one nut, see that over there. That actually gets put on once the unit is on. I just left it on there. And then the two screws, you can see the holes for them. There's one there and then one up there. Those screws, you'll actually install them from the engine. Okay, so I've got most of the screws out to split the housing and take the evap out. It was only about 7 screws, so let's see how this goes. I'm actually going to take this out as well. Okay, so this is the evap. Yeah, it looks like we have some leaking here, but I mean, I think it looks really bad on the other side. Let's see if we can get it out of there. Okay, so I ended up splitting the housing completely in half so I could get the evap out. See, it's pretty wet where the evap was. And there it is. Looks pretty bad. It's gonna do some cleanup now. We're gonna put the new evap in. Stay tuned. So I've got this back in, and again, I just wanted to point out to you the locations of the bolts and the nuts. So on the inside, you can see over there is the one nut for your heating and cooling unit. And then in the engine bay, I'll show you there's 2 bolts that come through the firewall. And just while I'm showing you this, once we get the dash back on, there's gonna be a screw that goes in here to support your blower motor, and then another screw right here. And that gets attached to the metal frame that's built into the dash. All right, let's look under the hood. Okay, now just looking at the firewall, you can see down here, I've got one of the bolts that goes through to attach to your heating and cooling unit. And then up top here, we've got another one. And that's it. So it's so easy to remove. Okay, so now that I've got this back in, let's get the dash in. And before I get the dash in, I just wanted to point out that you do have to remove your entire shifter and center console. With the shifter, it just makes it easier once it comes out. With the center console, you do have to take it out and disconnect the wiring to the back here. The wiring runs all the way into the dash. There's no way to separate it, so you do have to get that dash out to remove that wiring. And I'll show you once I put it back in how to get that center console screwed down. Alright, just gonna install the radio now. plug this piece back in. Okay, just a little progress update. Got the radio, all the controls back in. Got the shifter, which is super easy to take in and out. There's 3 bolts to remove the shifter, and then on the side here, it's 1 little bolt to remove the linkage. Just put a mark there so you know actually where the bolt is. All pretty straightforward. Plugged all the electrical back in. Now I'm just going to put the glove box on, or sorry, the center console. And again, the center console, really easy to take off and put on. It's actually only 1 bolt, which you can find under one of the cup holders, and then there's 2 screws at the back. You can just see them on the bottom. 1 there, 1 there, and that's it. Pretty much just lifts right out. Beauty. All right, let's get this piece on here. Okay, let's install the steering column. Alright, it's good to go. Now we just gotta connect the electrical wiring. Okay, next we got this steering wheel housing. Okay, a lot easier to get that on with the bottom piece screwed on first. Okay. Well guys, hope you enjoy this show. I've got a couple more panels to put on, but I think you get the point. Anybody who's got a little bit of skill, I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So good luck, and feel free to ask me questions along the way. Ciao.